What's up, everyone? Working on the OBS again. This seems to be a fairly frequent thing, but I guess it is what it is when you're taking on someone else's old project. So anyways, we have another oil leak that we got to take care of. So far, we've taken care of the oil leak that was on this fitting right here, the little O-ring that goes underneath. We fixed the oil leak that was in the valley, right, coming from the lift pump. And I noticed if I'd let it run for a while, I would see a little drip of oil coming down the side of the transmission. Traced it up to the top of the motor, right, and it was a little tricky because, hold on, let's put some light in. It was a little tricky because, I mean, it doesn't really look like anything is significantly leaking. I know it's not the best view for you, but ended up kind of narrowing it down. I had to use a camera and put it at the back of the motor behind the turbo. Traced it to the pedestal. So pretty sure it's not coming from between the turbo and the pedestal itself. I think it's where the pedestal mounts to the block. I think the O-ring under there is what's leaking, and it's just enough that it doesn't even run into the valley. It runs along the back side of the trans, and pretty much the entire trans. Let's see if you can see that. I don't think so. Yeah, there you go. See, it's super wet and mucky up there. So it just runs down the back of the trans, then to the side, and it gets pretty bad. See, it gets to the point where I don't know if you can really see it in the camera, but it's kind of shiny, right? You see there's like little spots. I don't know if you can see it real well, and the oil just gets I rinsed it off not too long ago, so it's probably a little harder to tell. See, but underneath the truck there's oil everywhere in this thing. So it runs down along and goes down all the way in the back of the truck, gets on the side of the truck, gets on the tailgate, it gets everywhere. So I really need to take care of this. So today, gonna get the turbo out, replace those seals, and I got a little setup. So I got this little kit from Amazon. It comes with everything. I think the kit was, shoot, 25 bucks after taxes and whatnot. So hopefully it's a pretty decent kit. The reviews are good. So I'll get all this stuff replaced. I won't have to mess with these for the up pipes. We'll see how the gasket looks for the actual up pipe to the turbo or the T4 flange. I think these are, I don't know, honestly. I think one set is possibly for the turbo and the other set is for the pedestal or the block. Honestly, I don't know. I've never worked on a lot of 6.0s, 6.4s, 6.7s. Haven't done a lot of 7.3 stuff. So that's the sole purpose of why I bought the truck, actually, because I knew it had some issues and it was going to make me tinker on it. So I believe this is the gasket. If you saw my other video, this is the gasket that I needed for the turbo, right? This one right here. So it came in the kit, so that'll get replaced, and I believe that'll be it. So we'll get that. Hopefully that'll take care of that oil leak, and I'll go from there. All right, so we're gonna get started on this. First things first, I need to get this elbow right here out of the way, little, I guess, cold area, if you want to call it that. And then we'll get this this little shoot, I don't know what we'll call this, also an intake elbow. Get this off, and I'll probably go ahead, just so I'm not recording every single little thing, I'm gonna go ahead and take this clamp off so that way I can drop the down pipe and see if I can get the bolts broken loose pretty simply for the T4 setup. This turbo, it doesn't have that the valve, right? The exhaust back pressure valve. So I mean, it's a little bit, it might be a little bit easier. The turbo's been off at some point in the past, not with me or not since my ownership. So excuse me. So it should be much easier than what a completely factory untouched truck would be at this I guess age in its life. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get all that off, pretty much tear it down to the O-rings, and if I run into anything, I'll go ahead and show that. All right, so super crazy. I have the, yeah, it's raining. I have the turbo out. There's obviously an exhaust leak right there. It was missing a bolt. So I'm gonna have to go get a bolt for that, and probably even a tap, because I don't think those threads are very good. Maybe a stud setup, I don't know. But the oil leak, those O-rings are actually in good shape. They're gonna get replaced regardless, but the O-rings are in good shape. So I was like, what in the world, where could that leak be coming from? You can see a little bit better too, maybe, to see all the oil that was on top of the trans. But check it out. I guess this is to be able to tap in for an oil pressure sensor. I really don't know, but this right here, you can see where it's oily all in this area. It wasn't leaking from up here where the pedestal mounts to the turbo, and with those O-rings not being flat or messed up, I don't think it was leaking from there. And being that it's wet all along right here, even in this fitting, you can see how it's wet in this fitting, kind of, if it would focus. But it looks like that fitting was a leak after all. All I could see was oil was coming from back here. I couldn't tell exactly from where, but it's gotta be that spot. So I'm gonna just get some Teflon for that. I'm gonna go ahead and seal this up a little better, maybe to help the turbo spool a little better. And shoot, get it back together. Maybe not tonight, because it's raining. But shoot, it's good to know what's going on with it. All right, went ahead and took the pedestal completely off. I'm gonna go ahead and replace these O-rings. The ones that I had, they're a little flat. I don't know when the last time they were replaced. I don't know how long ago this pedestal was put on. So while we're right here, it's just the 4 bolts, comes right off. So I'm gonna put these yellow ones that came in the kit. Pretty sure they're a little more up to par when it comes to temperatures and stuff. So put those, and I'll put this back on. I'm gonna use these other two for where the turbo mounts on the bottom, this area. Went ahead and got that, where's that, there it is. Went ahead and got this plug out, put some Teflon around it, put it back in there, so hopefully that seals up good. And put this back together, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it back on the truck. All right, I'm ready to put the turbo back in. I went ahead and put the new O-rings back there where they can seal up, the nice yellow ones. I have a new, what's called a T4 flange gasket, but the pipe to turbo gasket. Also too, where the bolt was missing right here in this area, I went ahead and went to Home Depot. I got some new bolts. They didn't have any flange ones, so these will just have to do, but they're just M10 1.5 and 30 millimeters long. So I'll probably go ahead, I'll put the nut back on this one. I'll put one of the old bolts in this bottom setup, and I'll just go ahead and put these 2 new ones in the top, so that way it, I don't know, looks a little shiny. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the turbo back in, and then we'll go from there. All right, got the turbo back in, got the new bolts on, bolts in all the spots that they should be. All right, you can barely see that bottom one down there. Let's see, just need to tighten it up a little bit more. Oops. Yeah, so I just need to get that tightened up a little bit more. But other than that, it's in. Got the new O-ring for right there, because a few videos back I showed that this one was torn, right, and it came, see, torn all the way. Had a little boost leak, and then so new gasket, it came with the kit. Go ahead and get this guy back on, get that back bolt tightened, and then go get it washed off, and hopefully it's the end of the leaks from up here. Alrighty, we're all back together. Keep in mind, I still need to get a cold air for it, but it is what it is. I'm trying to fix all the little problems. Hopefully that's it for the oil leaks up top. I do still need to address 2 leaks. Alright, I'm showing them to you. I tried to address it one a while back, but we just patched it up. But the dipstick tube adapter, right, I need to get an actual replacement for that. This helped. It's not professional. It was just temporary. So I need to get the actual little metal one that has a new O-rings to reseal it. And then the trans pan. Hard to see, but the fluid back here that's leaking, it is red, right? It's transmission fluid. I'm gonna just go ahead and get another pan. The gasket, we did have like a, what do you call it, kind of like a plasticky, rubberish, I guess it'd be like a rubber gasket. Tried that, it didn't work. Then I found another one from Amazon. It's more of like the modern style where it's plastic but has, like, you know, the rubber seals along with it. More of like a hardened style gasket, but that seems to not work either. But when I did swap it out, you could see where each spot where the bolts are, it's got a little raised, like a raised lip. So I tried to flatten it out as much as possible, but I think just this pan is just not cutting it, even though it's a factory one, so it's kind of odd. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get an aftermarket one that's you know, fresh, has a completely flat surface, new gasket, probably a cooling style, but that's for another video. Anyways, let me go get all this stuff washed off, the oil at least. I know the trans part is still gonna leak, and hopefully that's the end of the oil leaks, besides this guy right there, and although it'll be a while before I address it, the rear main still. So fingers crossed. Well, got it back home. So far so good. No motor oil. Next, as stated, I need to get whatever figured out for that transmission leak. So again, see y'all later.